Have you ever wanted to write beautiful and emotional music for the piano? Hi there, it's Simon from Composing Academy, and today I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process which you can use to write a piano piece like this. I'll be going through a variety of processes and techniques, which you can use and adapt when composing your own music. You can choose a technique to base a whole piece on, or use a number of them consecutively to help develop and add structure to your music. If you'd like the PDF step-by-step version of this video, complete with notation examples, check out the link below in the description. And also make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more composing tutorials and tips. Okay, so we're going to start by first choosing a key, followed by a chord progression. My piece is going to be in F minor, so I've made a list of all the chords which are in the F natural minor scale. If you start by limiting yourself to the chords that are found in each key, you'll likely find chords that work well together. You can of course use any major or minor chord in your progression though, and indeed you'll see in a minute how you don't have to completely stick to the chords found only in your chosen key. So looking at the chords that I have in the F natural minor scale, I've come up with a 4-bar progression with the chords of F minor, C minor, D flat major, A flat major, and B flat major. You can see at the end here, according to my scale guide that I made for myself, the B flat chord at the end should be a B flat minor. That's because there is the note of D flat in the F natural minor scale. When I played around with it though, I preferred the uplifting sound that the B flat major chord gave instead, which uses a D natural. A rule I tend to follow when composing is that if it sounds right to my ears, then it is right. Remember that you don't have to use the chords I have here. If you want some inspiration for more chord progressions, check out my video 10 cinematic sounding chord progressions, which you'll see a link for in the top corner now. Ultimately, I want to turn this into an 8-bar progression, so I'm going to copy these 4 bars again, but in order to add some variety, I'm going to change the last chord from a B flat major to an E flat major instead. I wanted to make sure that it didn't completely resolve, so I've made this E flat chord a second inversion with a note of B flat on the bottom. The next stage is optional, depending on the sound you want to go for. I often like to remove the middle note of each chord, which gives each chord a slightly ambiguous quality, as it's no longer identifiable as major or minor. Doing this helps to give the progression a more modal feel, which I often use when composing. Here's the progression without the middle or third note of each chord. The next stage is to compose something for the right hand. I often make use of pedal notes. These are single notes which stay constant, even if the underlying harmony changes. They can be a great way to add an exciting harmonic twist to your music, as when played over a changing chord progression, a lot of the time the note will not belong to the chord or triad which is playing. Start off by using the root note of the scale that you're in. So for example, as I'm in F minor, I'll use the single note of F. Here's the first 4 bars with the notes of F playing quarter notes added to the right hand. As it's the same note repeated over and over, it can get a little boring quickly. So another trick is to use the 5th note of the key that you're in as well. So in this case, as I'm in F minor, the 5th note of the F minor scale is C. Here you can see I keep to F mostly for the first 4 bars, but then occasionally alternate between F and C in the next 4 bars to add some needed variety to the sound. As an alternative to the single pedal note, you could use the notes of the root triad of the key that you're in, playing over and over whilst the underlying chords change. So the notes in the F minor triad are F, A flat, and C. So I could alternate back and forth with, say, an F and an A flat. Keeping these notes whilst changing chords underneath will again result in some interesting harmonies. In my example, you can see that I have the F and A flat repeating back and forth for the first 4 bars, before changing to F and C in the second 4 bars. Another useful tip is to make sure to use the sustain pedal on the piano in order to help create a rich and warm sound. Remember to release and reset the sustain pedal after every new chord change though. If you want to add a little more movement to the right hand part, you can also use triplets. I'm using the root and fifth notes again of F and C, keeping these constant over the changing harmony. To add more variation in the second half, I then add a new note, the 7th note of the F natural minor scale, E flat. This helps to give an extra melodic twist, especially whilst the harmony carries on changing underneath the repeating pattern. We can add more melodic variation to the right hand part by increasing the number of notes that we have at our disposal. Until now, I've just used the root, or first note, the 5th, and then in the last example, adding the 7th note. Now you could try using other notes of the scale, such as the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th notes. In the F natural minor scale, the first note would be F, the 2nd G, 3rd A flat, 4th B flat, and the 7th E flat. Using these notes, I can compose a repeating pattern of say 6 notes, again playing these over the existing chords. Up until this point, there hasn't really been an identifiable melody to the piece, as the right hand has been playing a sort of accompanying part. Let's experiment by playing a simple melody in the right hand, with the accompaniment solely in the left hand. The accompaniment in general is formed by playing each chord as a broken chord, with each note of the triad played individually in a triplet pattern. I'm largely sticking to the same chord progression, but I've now taken out the B flat major chord in the 4th bar and replaced it with an E flat major in root position each time. Because the notes go down quite low, instead of keeping to the normal triad pattern I've used in the previous chords, I keep the spacing between the notes in this E flat chord more open, choosing the root, then the 5th, and then the root an octave up. Now I've got a more conventional melody and harmony to this piano piece, let's increase the emotional level by playing the melody in octaves in the right hand. This will help to give more impact and drama to the music. Finally, here is an extra technique which can be particularly useful for beginning and ending your piano piece. Once you have a chord progression, you can play the chords one after another with a certain voicing or order of notes. I will frequently use this voicing of the root, or first note, followed by the fifth note, then followed by the third note of the chord, played in the next octave up. This is what we call an open voicing. Treating all of the chords this way would give me this, which I've decided to use as my ending. Now we've seen each section in isolation, let's take a listen to the whole piece, starting from step 2, and this time with the notation. Okay, so there are 7 steps you can use to compose an emotional piano piece. Remember, you can use each step in isolation and form a track around that particular technique, or use each process consecutively to help develop and add structure to your music. And don't forget, the PDF version of this video is available at the link below if you'd like a step-by-step guide to print out for your reference. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and also feel free to post examples of your own versions as well.